Oi, oi, all right, how's it going? I'm Grant, this is Doodle Review. It's a double bill for you this episode with a very underground rap theme. We're looking at two records from New York-based Mike. The first, his collaboration with Wiki and The Alchemist, and the second, his latest solo venture, Burning Desire. Let's get it! Faith is a Rock is a collaborative album that brings together two great rappers from the alternative experimental hip-hop genre, Michael Jordan Bonema, aka Mike, and Patrick G. Morales, aka Wiki. Over the course of a prolific discography, and I mean prolific, Mike is mid-20s and Wiki has just turned 30, and both of them have multiple albums, mixtapes and features to their name. Over the course of their discographies, both artists have demonstrated a passion for spitting over crate plundering, soul sampling beats with a slight dash of the abstract. Given the attraction to that style, having none other than The Alchemist write and produce the beats for this project just makes perfect sense. For those that don't know, Alchemist is a next level hip hop producer and beat maker in the classic sense of the word, producing for absolute legends in the rap game like Dilated Peoples, Mobb Deep, Ghostface Killah, Nas, Lil Wayne, Eminem, Action Bronson, Freddie Gibbs. The list is massive. While he's an incredibly versatile producer with the ability to somewhat merge to fit the vibe of the artist, especially when working with some of the bigger artists I just mentioned, Alchemist, aka Alan Daniel Mammon, has his own trademark sound, and that sound to me is luxury. The beats he makes aren't just a decent sample pool with some dusty drums, hard piano, and call it a day. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but he always seems to find a way to add the extra layers, the extra details that elevate a production. Comparing his beats to more generic examples is like comparing a paperback to a first edition leather-bound text, or a photo to a framed oil-painted canvas. He just makes everything sound classy, but not in a way that doesn't absolutely knock. The extra details he adds to certain tracks on Faith is a Rock provide an almost celestial, space-age vibe, but in a kind of retro, futurist way. That's a really wanky statement, but what I mean, if you listen to the opening track Stargate, is that it starts with these very smooth cinematic strings, but you also have these electronic but still very warm pings and bubbling notes. Odd Ways has more classy strings, but you have these laser-like synths coming in and out. And One More captures a vibe like being pissed on Christmas Day and it's getting late and everyone is just loose and enjoying themselves. But it also has these little spacey touches. And all of it comes to remind me of what like the 60s envisioned the future would look like, you know, on the original Star Trek or the Jetsons, hence the retrofuturism. To me, all of these kind of otherworldly celestial touches on top of the organic samples help serve the theme of the album, which very loosely is talking about belief in a higher power, hence the title, Faith is a Rock. When I say that, I don't necessarily mean this is about religion. Throughout the course of the album, Mike and Wiki come at this theme of faith through multiple different topics and viewpoints. A number of tracks actually see the pair talk about rap itself as that object of belief. On the opener Stargate, Mike alludes to the fact his determination and passion for hip-hop is what stops him from leaning too far into his vices. On this track and Thug Anthem, which has one of my favourite beats, Wiki talks about the journey of coming up in the rap game and having to battle the judgments of others to get to this point in his career. In Odd Ways, Mike discusses how he pushes forward through moments of depression and the grief of losing his mother. There's also some allusions to entities of power from a political and social points of view. Mayor's a Cop talking about how NYC's current mayor is funding heavier policing rather than educational community investments. Again, two objects of faith that both rappers believe in. From a rap and cadence point of view, Mike and Wiki make a perfect team. Both are cerebral but also laid back and focused on weaving rhyme as much as a message. Occasionally their flows could be argued mirror each other a little too much, and that might just impact the dynamism of the album, but given the succinct track list, it's really not that noticeable. This has been one of my favourite rap albums from the more underground, experimental and art rap genre. I would give this one an 8 out of 10. Just a few weeks after dropping that awesome collab with Wiki and The Alchemist, Mike came through again with this, his own solo record, now his 6th, Burning Desire. And as per all of his albums, Mike helms Burning Desire like a visionary auteur director, like the way a Tarantino or Kubrick helms their movies, writing and performing every bar and constructing practically every beat. The instrumentals are credited as DJ Black Power. However, this is just another alias for our central artist here. As a producer, Mike, or Black Power, has a real trademark which he's honed across recent albums like 2021's Disco, 22's Beware of the Monkey, and now Burning Desire. Musically, these records sound like finding an undiscovered soul album and then listening to all of the components of that record completely chopped up, slowed down, sped up and put in a blender, somehow mixed to produce almost an hour's worth of music that is on one hand completely like cozy and familiar, while also being thrilling and kind of disorientating. Sometimes those beats roll out the red carpet for Mike to just swagger down with his laid back flow, like the smooth Set the Mood and You Think Maybe, where all of the instruments in that latter just like fall away until there is just a beat sounding like the end of a tape just running over and over and over. Other times the chopped up unconventional loops like Zap force Mike to find an unusual pocket and white knuckle it to just ride the janky beat with his wordplay. And it's on these tracks that Mike proves that his hazy, laid-back demeanour is just a mask that disguises a super agile MC. Continuing the comparison to decorated directors of film, this record is actually set up with a bit of a movie narrative. We hear an intro to this at the start, which sets the scene of a tribal mask maker based around the region of Liberia who is ridiculed by his community and then intends to take some sort of revenge. Now, sadly, that concept is only loosely followed through on the record. You could make some connections in tracks like African Sex Freak Fantasy and Snake Charm, where lyrics point to someone not getting respect for the effort that they put in and being depressed, but these could equally just be lines drawing at Mike's own stories. By the end of the record, you could suggest that the emotive Mark William Lewis points to our protagonist putting aside his lust for vengeance and becoming more secure in themselves, but again, it's hard to tell if we're still really bothering with the concept at that point. Look, it's always a major gamble when an artist goes too hard into the concept thing, and so I don't begrudge Mike keeping this quite a loose structure. The only reason I mention it at all is that I actually think he has the vision and talent to pull something like this off, with a more succinct and engrossing narrative told over multiple songs. I think he has the talent to really make that happen at some point. In the end though, this is still a great album from an artist that I think feels like they are just growing more and more confident in their abilities. While this still feels a little baggy at times, this is one of Mike's most immediately engrossing and succinct records yet, and I love it. It's a really, really strong 7 out of 10 from me. Thanks for listening to me chat fraff about these couple of records. As usual, you've reached the end of this free review, so you've got to pay a price, but that price is really easy. You just got to hit the subscribe button. And let me know in the comments, like, what did you think? Did I get this right? Got a good take, bad take? What was your favourite track on these albums? Share some thoughts, show some love, or just have some abuse in the comments. And there are some other videos linked in the description below that you might quite like. Cheers.